It's Greg Amsinger, Harold Reynolds, Hall of Famer Jim Thome, who's been through this before, and the newly elected Hall of Famer Derek Jeter. Derek, thanks again for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I was telling everyone this is the first time I have been invited here.
That is, well, I don't know if that is true.
That is very true. Evidently, you got to get into the Hall of Fame to get an invite.
Well, what do you think of it? What do you think of it?
This is great. No, this is great. I see it actually now that Harold has a job. This is real. This is real.
I saw him in your office. What were you showing him?
I was having him sign a couple pictures. Sign some things, man.
So how's the experience been? We talked to you yesterday after you got the news. What was your experience like today?
It's a little overwhelming. I don't think it's really set in yet. I mean, we woke up, we got on a flight, showed up at the press conference, and we had a lunch. We had a press conference. Now we're on our way over here, and it's been, I didn't really know. I had no preconceived notions on how this day would actually feel if and when I ever made it. But it's been a whirlwind.
You know, it's so funny. People are probably sitting there thinking, "Oh, come on, Derek, you knew you were going to be in," but you really do not think ahead like that with something like this. And explain why.
Who am I to sit here and say, well, I'm getting in the Hall of Fame? You know, this is the highest honor you could receive as a player. And, you never sit here and just assume that people are going to vote for you. So this is, like I said, it's the ultimate honor. It's very humbling, but it's something that I try. H, you've asked me a couple times. I don't want to talk about it. And this has been for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's now I'm happy that we can actually talk about it.
I mean, the first thing I look at, I see you in this uniform. When Thome was wearing it, I got it. He was an Indian in red. You got on red, a baseball uniform.
Yeah. I mean, I've worn 3 uniforms in my professional career since I got to New York. It was New York, obviously Yankee uniform. Then when I played for Team USA in the WBC, which was awkward to see. You took a lot of pride in it, but it was awkward to see that uniform on. But this one, I can live with it.
I always wondered for many years, what was it like to have players come up and ask you and say, or just basically come out and say, "You're my idol. This is the reason why I wore number 2." What did that feel like? One,
it makes you feel old. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But it's flattering, man. I mean, I played for a long time. I was very fortunate to play for 20 years and play for 20 years for the same organization and play 20 years for the same organization that had a lot of success. So we were on TV at the biggest stage a lot of years. So, there's a lot of players that had an opportunity to watch our teams play in the postseason. And if to have that effect on the younger generation, it makes you feel good.
I got to imagine you had a million phone calls. And I'm sure your family, your parents, talked to all your relatives. Name the former teammate that you were on the phone with the longest.
I have yet to be on the phone with former teammates. The only one that I've been on the phone with was Mr. T, because everything was happening so fast and my phone was off. And then once I got to my phone, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we got up early and left and came here, so we had a lot of things to do. So I've yet to speak to my teammates. Got a lot of text messages and emails from people. I have hundreds that I haven't yet.
So Joe Torre, who we brought into our interview with you.
I appreciate that. Yes, thank you very much.
That was the only connection.
Yeah, but I did speak to Mr. Steinbrenner. Hal gave me a call, and I spoke to him, and Cash was at the lunch, and we were just at the press conference. So I have been in touch with people in the organization.
So what would George Steinbrenner be saying today?
Oh, man, I would like to think he would be thrilled. I had a pretty good relationship with the boss, and he treated me probably as well as you possibly could. He was someone that had high expectations. He would challenge you. I mean, he expected to win every single day, and our mindset was the same when it came to that. So our relationship really developed over time.
So in '96, I got a chance to watch your first Major League home run, opening day. What was that moment like in Cleveland?
Yeah, it was when we got snowed out the day before, and my entire family couldn't go because my sister had a softball game. So one of my parents had to go to her game, and fortunate to get off to a good start because
I playing third.
That's a whole nother
We're
segment.
a little older now.
At third base. But I was lucky, man, because I think if Tony Fernandez didn't unfortunately break his arm towards the end of spring training, I would have been shipped out to AAA.
You know what happened on that though, Jim? Went back and watched this whole at bat. He tried to bunt first pitch. Pulled the bat.
Well, he knew who was playing third.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Did I? Sorry, man. I didn't do it, though.
Hey,
It's all good.
So you got to tell us a little bit. You talked about your relationship with George Steinbrenner, and we talk about this a lot. It's one of my favorite stories. And you go back to the Congo line, the commercial, and how that all came about. So tell a little bit about how that story came about and that really kind of fostered your relationship.
Yeah, you know, it is an interesting story because every offseason I would meet with the boss. We'd have lunch at some point. And you know, he'd tell me the same thing. I need you to be focused. I need you to win. I need you to be accountable and responsible. And we're the Yankees. We have to win a World Series. Great. We feel the same way. So he came out, and someone had asked him a question if he was going to name me the captain of the team. And he says, well, I want him focused. I don't want to read about him being at a birthday party at 3 o'clock in the morning.
A birthday party?
My point exactly. You have a birthday party, you know what I mean? So they terned it into I was this big party animal in New York, which was really, it wasn't a big deal.
So it was a 3 a.m. birthday party.
It was probably a little later. It was a birthday party. So the next day, they asked me, I was working out at the minor league complex, they asked me, are you doing anything different getting ready for this season? I said, no, I'm not doing anything different. Same here, I'm at the minor league complex, I'm getting ready for spring training. They turned that into, I refuse to change my partying ways to please the boss and be named the captain. So I was on the back page, it said party on, and now I'm this nightlife guy in New York. And so I go to the boss's office and I say, listen, this is what happened. You got me on the front page here. Now you need to fix it. So we get into it. We're screaming back and forth and yelling. And I get up to leave. He pats me on the back. I look in the hallway, and everyone's, you know, got their ears in the hallway trying to listen to what we're yelling at each other.
Really?
And after that, it turned into a Visa commercial. So it was great, you know. And
You planted the seed.
yeah, you know, but you know, look, the boss, he liked to challenge people, and I appreciated that. And you know, if you back down from him, you were done.
Oh, he was going to run you over.
Yeah, but he was, in my mind, he's one of the greatest owners in all of sports.
Go ahead, Jim. What do you
No,
got?
I was going to say, so for years I used to watch you, and I would come out right before BP in Yankee Stadium, and I always admired, you know, I mean, what you did offensively, but man, you took ground balls and you walked off the field, and you know, and it just, you had the sweat running down. And for, you know, I watched your first major league homer, and we were together for a long time in a 20-year career, and I always admired that. But I always wonder, what role did Zim have on you? You know?
Yeah, Don Zimmer was the best. You talk about someone that's seen everything you could possibly see on a baseball field. I mean, he was in the game for 50-plus years, and you know, we had a great relationship. Learned quite a bit from him. I've always been a sponge for knowledge. I try to learn as much as I can. I listen a lot. And, you know, Zim would find his way over to me, and he'd share different stories. And I tried to learn as much as I could. It was a special relationship.
Yeah.
So how did the core four develop? You know, there's actually 5, 6, 7, but it ended up being 4. So how did it end up being the core four?
Well, one, I think people always forget about Bernie. And the reason why, I think they started this core four after we won the championship in '09 and Bernie wasn't there. Bernie was the reason why we got the opportunity to stay together, because everyone knows Mr. Steinbrenner was known for trading young players. And Bernie really was the first one to get an opportunity. And he had success, which gave us our opportunity to play. And once we got there, we made the most of it. But you talk about a special bond with those group of players. It's hard to do. It's hard to play together for that long on one particular team.
And so many of your former teammates talk about how great of a teammate you were. Just watching the press conference today in New York City, it looks to me that you're happy that you got a teammate in this class. It's not just you. You're with Larry Walker. It seems like you enjoy that he's with you on this journey.
You can't have success without teammates. That's in anything you do. You know, that's the front office side. It's business side. You have a team around you. You have family members. You have friends. You have your support group. You need those people. And you know, I've always been very vocal about that. You can't have any success without the help of others. And I'm ecstatic for Larry. Good guy. Don't know Larry personally that well. I'm sure I will get to know him over the next few months, but big fan of him as a player, so I couldn't be happier for him.